我是电子工程师，我特别喜欢华强北。Were I not about to get married, I wouldn't have gone home. The first time I came to Huaqiangbei was around about October 2003. I was working as a consulting engineer in New Zealand, doing outdoor LED video screens, basically working on power supplies and EMC, things like that. And a friend of mine we've known each other since we were 5 years old. He lives in Shenzhen. He brought me to Huaqiangbei because he knows I'm an electronics engineer and he knew I'd love it, which I did. A kid in a candy ground, honestly. It was just fantastic. We genuinely don't have anything even vaguely like this in New Zealand. My briefcase is an aluminium toolbox about this big, and I took home 27 kilograms of ferrites, and oscilloscope probes, lots of big capacitors, things like that. And I just carried it onto the plane like this. I had to use 2 hands to lift it up to put it on the X-ray machine at the airport. I couldn't wait to come back. So every time I got to come to China for work, I would make sure that I had a weekend at least in Shenzhen so I could spend it with Paul and buy more stuff at Huaqiangbei, buy more components to stock my laboratory up back home. When I first came here, I fell in love for a bunch of reasons. It was just so busy, so vibrant, so alive, dynamic, exciting. I really enjoyed working with the Chinese engineers. When I was a consultant, I had a really interesting role, which is that what they would do would contact me at the beginning of a design when they've got basic outline of a project and say, hey look, we're trying to do this thing and we want to be this many watts, blah, 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 and it's got to fit in this smaller space. Can we do it? And I would design the magnetics, which is one of my specialties. And so I would go away and do the engineering calculations to see whether or not we could fit what they want in the basic space. So they would, after getting the basic feasibility study done from me and a preliminary design for the magnetics, they would go away, do all the really hard work, and then I would come back into the project right at the end when it's basically finished. I relocated to Shenzhen, and then I rediscovered Huaqiangbei, and very, very different. On a number of occasions, I would get lost and not sure if I'm in that building or that building or that building. And they sort of all look a bit the same inside. It was very confusing. Back in 2003 was mostly Saigo. It's the pure electronics portion of it. It's substantially larger. When we moved, Saigo, however, was still as exciting as it's always been. I know there's a big maker community here. I've got a bunch of friends who are involved with the maker community, and when I first came here, that pretty much didn't exist back in 2003. Now the maker community here is huge. I mean, literally next door, places like Hacks. I have visited those places because I have friends who work there and they do some amazing stuff. People complain about Chinese making cheap knockoff rubbish. The real problem is people wanting to pay almost nothing for something that looks like a good thing, and suppliers will supply whatever customers ask for. You can go to a factory that makes battery drills and you can get them to make you a 12-volt lithium-ion battery drill for like 40 RMB. What do you expect you're going to get? It's not going to be good. I've bought a lot of components in Huaqiangbei, and once I learned not to buy the cheapest stuff, I've bought lots of great stuff. My entire lab is stocked with components from Huaqiangbei. About 2/3 of the equipment is extremely high quality. I've got some spectacularly good oscilloscopes. I have a 6 gigahertz Tektronix 4-channel LaCroix oscilloscope. These things were something like $100,000 US, and I paid about 40,000 RMB for mine. I definitely plan on staying here. Shenzhen is a fantastically modern city. The difference Shenzhen now to Shenzhen in 2003 is night and day. Among other things, I can't remember the last time I saw a diesel bus. All buses are electric. All taxis are electric. The MTR is fantastic. It's a wonderfully exciting, technologically advanced city. And I get to work in Huaqiangbei. I mean, I'm a kid in a candy store.